Greetings, friends. Bill Priestley here, and have I got a question for you? What do you want to do with your life? Yep, big, bad, daunting question that stares everyone in the face every now and then when we can't really seem to figure out what it is that we should be doing with our lives. And that question is, of course, the crux of what the Dream Job Factory is all about, helping you figure out what it is that you want to do. But that question gets unanswered a lot. And there are several reasons for that. Well, first off, let me backtrack just a bit. Because a statistic that I find very intriguing plays a central role in what and how we kind of approach this question. And that is, in 1945, the average age that a young person made a decision about what they wanted to do with their life was somewhere between 14 and 17. And that corresponds to the end of high school, or at least the end of schooling in the high school 9 through 12 age range. Because what you're talking about is when a young person leaves school, they are going from there straight to some sort of working environment, be it the farm, be it the factory, be it for mom and dad, be it for the family business, whatever it is. Because you didn't have to go to school through the 12th grade, so whenever you were done or whenever you were deemed to be necessary in order to make some money for the family, schooling was over and you were straight into the workforce. Fast forward now to about 2012, where another study was done along similar lines, and they found out that the average age the young person makes that first real decision about what they wanted to do with their life is now between 21 and 25. And that is a huge difference. And there are lots of reasons for that particular shift because, well, there's not really one overreaching, amazing reason why people have done this. But there are several reasons. You can probably think of a few off the top of your head. The one that comes to mind for me is the fact that young people have been given a checklist of things to do. There's this kind of idea, this path that you got to follow. If you remember, lots of people a long time ago, it was popular to have the mantra. It still is popular, actually. You go to school to get good grades so you can go to college, so you can get a degree, so you can get a good job, so you can buy a house, buy a car, support a family, yada, 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 move on. Well, that is simply a mantra that was put together by parents because that's a checklist. That's what you're going to do. You're going to go to school, you're going to get good grades, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a degree, you're going to get a good job, you're going to get a house, get a wife, get a husband, get kids, have a family, so I don't have to worry about you anymore. That's essentially the end result of that particular mantra. Now, young people have also been given themselves a checklist as well. And what that is obviously varies from person to person, but they want to have certain experiences. As soon as they hit that age after high school, 18 to 21, 22, 25, that's their time to shine, if you will. That's the time when they get to make the decisions about their life that they really, really want to, whether that is going to college, whether that is whatever they want to do after the workday, especially after they're 21. That is the young life time when you get the most chance and the most energy to dispose at your will. And so there are certain things that are prioritized for each young person, and each young person is different. And so when it comes to that idea of what do you want to do with your life, in both cases, that question has been prioritized very low on the list. In other words, either you go through and you do these things to get to an eventual outcome, or you do what you want and then worry about that other question later. And so I think what we've kind of come to here with this question is the fact that we don't really want to pay attention to it. And I think there are several reasons for that. One is that what do you want to do with your life? And you go to a social gathering and people ask, well, what do you do? Do has this connotation that it means work. Work, therefore, means labor. Labor is bad, and we don't really want to talk about that. What is it that you do? that's a question that nobody really wants to hang around a lot, especially when that word starts to have these negative connotations. And then also with it is that we think about dreams, we think about great things that we want to do with our lives, but we've become a lot more reserved about going after things that may be tremendously worthwhile. We don't take as much risks. Society is noted in various publications. We're getting a little bit more conservative. We're not going for the big ring. We're not going for the brass ring. We're kind of surviving life a little bit more. And you find that in elderly people at the nursing home. And more people will say when they ask a question, what do you regret most about life? And they will say, I wish I would have taken a few more risks. I wish I would have followed my own path a little bit more. I wish I would have listened to my own gut a little bit more. And so what I want to do in this video to wrap things up essentially is I want to talk to you about that question and attempting to answer that question, at least to some degree. And whenever I've come across people and that question has come up, and it's usually me bringing it up, I usually get one of three objections, if not all three, at some point. And I want to address those, just about how you look at your life and how going after something worthwhile doesn't necessarily need to be a job, but just something that inspires you, something that you think, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could only do that? And we have this dreamer mentality, but we have a lack of do in trying to go after that thing. And there's three objections. First one is, I don't have time. And I'm going to call liar, liar, pants on fire with that one, because if you take your age and you subtract it from 80 if you're a woman, 72 if you're a man, if that's a positive number, you have time. You have time, okay? 24 hours in a day. Yes, if you're working 40 hours a week, guess what? You have time. Okay, you get to sleep, yes, but you have time. You do. It's about prioritizing. You do have time to be able to do the things that you want to do, or at least build them towards whatever it is that you want to do. Second objection, I don't want to fail. Okay, this is a tough one to overcome because we have been conditioned, usually by academics, and this is something that I have a real problem with, is that young people are afraid to fail. They're afraid to get the answer wrong. Sir Ken Robinson, with a great TED Talk, go look it up, gives a great story about how this is just being beaten out of young people. And even if at a very young age, if they don't think they'll necessarily be wrong, if they think they're even half right, they'll give something a go and see if it'll work. But we've been conditioned by the attitude of failure is bad, that we can't achieve, or that we shouldn't even try to risk failing in attempting to succeed at something that we really, really want. And that's rather sad, because here's the thing. Most of the time, especially if you're going after a dream job, is look at what you have to lose in the entire endeavor. 99 times out of 100, it means if you didn't get the job, guess what? Nothing changed. You didn't lose anything. And frankly, it's a learning experience. That's what a lot of coaches will tell their athletes. You can learn a whole lot more from a loss than you can from a win. It is really hard to sometimes come back after a big win and continue to play well as a team because, we played well, we can mail it in today. But if you lose, that's when the teacher steps in. That's when the teacher says, look, yeah, you failed, but it's a learning experience, and this is how you can get better. And that is more than gratifying in my situation, or from my perspective anyway, when you take a look at your life and you go, you know what, I can do this. Even if you fail, what have you lost? What have you lost? So, you don't want to fail. I don't want to fail either. but I'm going to learn if I do. And if I don't fail, my goodness, what could possibly happen? Objection number 3, and also another one that's tough to overcome. I care too much about other people's opinions to do what I want to do. There is a wonderful quote, which has often been misrepresented over time. It's been attributed to Jack Kerouac, which I think is incorrect. It's also been attributed as an ancient Chinese proverb, which is also incorrect. It's actually from an 80s Harley Davidson ad, which basically says this: when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. If we subject ourselves to the idea that other people's opinions are more important than ours, then we're just chasing other people's dreams. We're just appeasing other people, and we're not appeasing ourselves. And eventually, at some point, hopefully not too late, we find out that, you know what? Those other opinions just didn't matter. Because the only thing that matters in the grand scheme of your life are the decisions that you make for yourself. So when it comes to this question of what it is that you want to do with your life, it's a big question. It's a daunting question. It's one that we can help you with here at the Dream Job Factory. But aside from that, what can you lose? Practically nothing. I mean, even if you don't use our services, what do you lose just by trying yourself? You know, if anything, we're here to help you, but at the same time, you have the opportunity to take on the dream that you want. And if you don't need us, don't use us. Do it yourself. But at the same time, ask yourself, is it that time to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life? Because we've only got one, and we're all going to pass away at some point. And it's going to be nerve-wracking at the end of life if you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I wish I would have. I wish I would have taken a chance. I wish I could have seen what I could possibly do if I had taken a chance on myself. That's a decision I hope no one has to live with, because you want to get the most out of this thing. You want to give the most out of this thing. And this is the time to make that kind of a decision. So, what is it that you want to do with your life? It's a great question. You don't have to answer it today. You don't have to answer it tomorrow. But put some more thought into it. Get it a little higher in the priority list. Because who knows? Someday, opportunity may come. And will you be willing to take it? That's up to you. I'll see you next time.